Today's lesson is called, Is It Still Safe to Eat? Understanding Food Date Labels. Hello everyone, my name is Jeff.
My name is Roger, and happy Halloween, everybody. Of course, today is October 31st, and if you've gone trick-or-treating, you might have some candy at home that you haven't eaten yet. And, of course, after Halloween passes, you might see some sales in some stores of Halloween candy. So you want to make sure, if you buy that candy at a discount, if it's still good.
There you go. You bought discount candy. Make sure you didn't buy stuff that has already gone bad, and which is going to make you sick when you eat it. That being said, just because the expiration date on that candy has passed doesn't necessarily mean that that candy is bad. Yes, that's what we're trying to get to the bottom of in this particular lesson. Yeah, what do these food date labels mean? Now, we know that a best by date or a best before date or a use by date doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be eating food that has gone bad. Yes, food that has expired, so to speak, i.e., you're eating it on a day after the best before date or the best by date or the use by date. This particular food isn't necessarily bad. You can still enjoy it. Now, the quality of the food might have dropped a little bit, but by all means, you can still enjoy that stuff. Yes, this is what we're trying to get to the bottom of in this particular lesson. What do these food date labels mean? Okay, let's figure this out so we can all be smart shoppers, and also we can cut down on food waste. All right, folks, with that, it's time for us to take a short break, but don't go away. When we come back, we'll be talking some more about expiration dates.
If food date labels don't tell us when a product will go bad, then how do we know if something is safe to eat? Most experts would agree that the best way is to use your senses. If something looks, smells, or tastes strange, then throw it out, regardless of the date.
各位好，第一部分我们看到片语 regardless of 表示不顾、不管点点点、尽管点点点，后面可以接名词、动名词或 WH 名词子句，用来指不受某事物影响。例如I am going to work on my garden today regardless of the weather. 不管今天天气如何，我还是要整理花园。又或者说 regardless of what happens during the race, you should know that I am proud of you. 不管比赛期间发生什么事，你要知道我以你为荣。
All right, it's time for us to talk about the first paragraph. So remember last time we talked about these food date labels, best by, do not sell after certain date or things like that. So yes, indeed, if food date labels don't tell us when a product will go bad, then how do we know if something is safe to eat? So I think it's safe to say that most food that has gone past the expiration date or the expiration date for that food has already passed, it's still safe to eat that food, but how do we really know if that food has gone bad? How can we tell, especially how can we tell before we actually open the package up?
Well, trust your senses, okay? Evolution has been good to us, okay? Over millions and millions of years, we've figured out for the most part whether something is bad for us or not bad for us. And very often, a bad taste, a bad smell, okay, will tell us that something is either good or bad. Yeah, most experts would agree that the best way is to use your senses. And sure, your nose is not as good as a dog's, let's say, but it is good enough for you to figure out whether or not something smells bad. Yeah, bad smell means stay away.
Right, use your senses, your smelling, your tasting, your sight, your hearing, and your sense of touch. So these are different ways that you can tell if the food is good or not. So I guess first of all, you need to look at it. So if it looks bad, or if it smells bad, or if it tastes bad or strange, then throw it out. Send it to the garbage can. Put it in the rubbish bin, regardless of the date. So here, regardless of just means no matter what the date is, okay? If it's only one day, or if it's a week, or if it's just 15 minutes and it still smells bad, or even, as you said, if it's before the expiration date and you can smell something strange, ugh, get rid of that thing. You don't want to risk getting sick.
So in this situation, if it smells bad or if something looks bad, if it tastes strange, I don't know why you're tasting it, but yeah, if it does taste strange, throw it out and don't pay attention to the date. Don't think, hey, we haven't reached the expiration date yet. I think I'll drink this milk even though it smells bad and tastes bad. Oh, yeah, that's fine. No, the date here doesn't matter. Throw the stuff out regardless of the date. Okay, folks, with that, it's time for us to take a short break, but we'll be back right after this.
It's also helpful to have a general idea of how long different types of food can keep. The shelf life of dry foods like cereal and pasta usually extends months beyond their printed date. Fresh meats should be used within 2 to 4 days of purchase and kept refrigerated. Raw fish should be eaten within a day or two after you bring it home. Eggs can be consumed within a month of purchase as long as they're kept in the refrigerator. Finally, some foods never go bad if they're properly stored. These include dried beans, salt, soy sauce, and sugar.
"第二部分我们看到动词 extend 有延长、延续、扩大的意思。像是 The deadline was extended because Andy still hadn't completed his work. Andy 还没完成他的工作，所以截止期限延后了。另外补充这个字的名词 extension E-X-T-E-N-S-I-O-N extension 指延伸、扩大。我们可以说 This new series are the extension of the popular soap opera you loved. 这个新的影集是你喜欢的那部连续剧的延伸。接着我们看到单字 purchase 这个字在课文中是名词，指购买。举例来说 I checked around for prices before I made the purchase of my new computer. 我在进行电脑购买之前查询了许多相关的价格。另外这个字除了可以当名词，还可以做动词用。我们可以说 Kathy purchased several items from the online clothing store. Kathy 从网络服装店购买了几样商品。再来我们看到一个动词 refrigerate 有冷藏的意思。例如 If you refrigerate that food, it will stay fresh longer. 如果你把那食物冷藏，它可以保鲜久一点。另外补充相关的单字 refrigerator R-E-F-R-I-G-E-R-A-T-O-R refrigerator 指冰箱。我们可以说 Please put the bottle of milk back into the refrigerator when you are done with it. 在你用完那瓶牛奶后，请把它放回冰箱里。
Okay, here's the second part of today's lesson. It's quite long, so please bear with us. It begins by saying, it's also helpful to have a general idea of how long different types of food can keep. So, yes, have some basic knowledge or have some basic information about certain kinds of food. We'll give you some examples here in just a second, but yeah, think about bread. Bread usually doesn't last long. It will grow mold relatively quickly, or it will become stale if you leave it out too long. And of course, we all know that dairy food, especially milk, can spoil fast. So yes, this is just common knowledge here.
Oh, and don't forget fish. We'll talk about this in a little bit, but yeah, bread will go stale, and you can still eat it. But let's say fish, if that goes bad, it starts to smell bad, throw it away immediately. Fish spoils very quickly. Anyways, we will get to fish soon. For now, let's talk about dry foods. Yeah, the shelf life of dry foods like cereal and pasta usually extends months beyond their printed date. So, yeah, I've got pasta up in my cabinet at home. I think I bought it a couple years ago. I'm not going to throw that out. Pasta just doesn't go bad for the most part. Maybe when I do boil it up, it won't be super delicious like a nice fresh pasta would be, but it will still hit the spot. So yeah, dry foods. i.e. not wet foods, okay? Things like cereal and pasta, they generally don't go bad very quickly. By the way, the shelf life, it says here, of these things usually extends months beyond their printed date. If you extend something, for the most part, you make that thing longer. Okay, so you have a certain length between now and your expiration date. Okay, if the actual date of spoilage extends much further beyond the printed date there, okay, what that means is that this food is going to last longer than what that label suggests. You have to make something longer. Yeah, if you extend a limb, by the way, like if you extend your arm out, what you do is you make that arm as long as possible. You stick your arm out as far as it will go. For example, I extended my hand to him in friendship. Yeah, I hoped he was going to shake my hand there.
Yeah, he probably did. You're such a great guy. And this is, of course, referring to the expiration date. It will extend or continue after months beyond the printed date. And again, that's for cereal and pasta. They're generally pretty dry. Cereal here can mean grains. It could also be referring to breakfast cereal, like Corn Flakes or Frosted Flakes or Cheerios or whatever. So these things have a long shelf life, which means they can stay for a long time on the shelf. And fresh meats should be used within 2 to 4 days of purchase and kept refrigerated. Now, that kind of goes without saying. That's common knowledge. Meat will spoil pretty quickly. You need to eat it pretty quickly after you buy it, and you should keep it refrigerated. Of course, refrigerate here is a verb that just means to put it in a cool place like a refrigerator. And these are fresh meats like pork or beef or whatever. Use this kind of meat, cook it within 2 to 4 days of purchase. And purchase just means when you buy something.
Yeah, when you buy something, the date of purchase. By the way, this word purchase, it can be used as a noun. Okay, a purchase is something that you've bought. A date of purchase is the day on which you bought something. But you can also use this word as a verb as well. To buy something is to purchase that thing. Anyways, it says here that these meats should be kept refrigerated. Put them in the fridge. Now, I go a step further. If I know I'm not going to eat that meat within the next 2 or 3 days, I stick it in the freezer. Yeah, very often meat will last quite a long time in the freezer. That's the way to go. Now, you can refrigerate meat like pork and hamburger and steak like that. Fish, on the other hand, I think that you can freeze it. But when you try to defrost it later on and cook it, it's not going to be very good. I don't think fish freezes very well. Anyways, more on fish. Raw fish should be eaten within a day or two after you bring it home. So you might have 2 to 4 days with meat. With fish, though, cut that in half. Yeah, eat it a day or two after you buy it, after you bring it home. By the way, we're talking about raw fish. That means it's been pulled out of the ocean. Maybe the fish has been cleaned a little bit and it has been sold to you and you haven't cooked it. Yeah, when you talk about raw foods, you're talking about foods that have not been cooked, okay? A steak that you've thawed out and you're about to cook on the grill, that is raw. The moment that you cook it, it is no longer raw.
Right, and if you, of course, eat salad, most of the time the vegetables are raw. They're not cooked. So, yes, in this particular case, you got to watch out for raw fish. Otherwise, it will really stink up the place. Eat raw fish within a day or two after purchase, after you buy it, after you bring it home. Now, let's talk about eggs here. Eggs are common. They're easy to cook. Most people know how to boil an egg. So eggs can be consumed within a month of purchase as long as they're kept in the fridge or in the refrigerator. So, of course, these are referring to chicken eggs. Of course, here in Taiwan, you always say ji dan, but we say eggs. And generally, we are referring to chicken eggs. That's the type of egg most people will buy and eat.
Chicken eggs. Yeah, there are other types of eggs too, but they're kind of exotic. I think you can have quail eggs. I've never had them before, but James Bond apparently likes to eat quail eggs or something like that, a fancy food like that. But yeah, for the most part, in the United States, when you say eggs, you're talking about chicken eggs. That is implied. Now, finally, some foods never go bad if they're properly stored, okay? These include dried beans, salt, soy sauce, and sugar. So there you go. If you leave a jar of sugar, let's say, open on your counter for a couple of weeks, chances are that will go bad. But if you properly store that thing, you close that jar, you put that jar in a dry place, a climate-controlled place, that sugar might last forever. And the same thing goes apparently here for soy sauce, salt, and also dried beans. How about that?
How about that? So we've got the word properly here. That's an adverb referring to something done in a proper way. For example, I got fired from my last job because I did not properly carry out my duties. And my coworkers snitched on me, told the boss, and I was let go. I was given the boot. I was fired, and now I'm on the unemployment line.
That's not very nice. I don't think that you should have been fired for that. Based on what you're saying there, I think that maybe your company treated you improperly.
Probably that was the improper thing to do, but I'm taking the optimistic viewpoint. Hey, it's probably an opportunity. I should have been fired from that job anyway. Again, that's just an example, but indeed here you need to properly store these things. What are they? Beans here, salt, soy sauce, and sugar. Usually they say keep those in a cool and dry place. That's a proper way to store them. That's storing them properly. Okay, that brings us to the end of the second part of our lesson for today. Let's now move on to the third part.
Remember that over 1 billion tons of food is wasted every year, with a major reason being confusion over food date labels. By better understanding the meaning of those labels and making use of your senses, you could help reduce the waste.
第三部分我们看到一个单字 major， 这个字是形容词，指主要的、重大的。举例来说， The company's location played a major role in Anna's decision to accept a job. 公司地点对 Anna 接受这份工作有重大影响。另外补充一个相关的单字 majority, M-A-J-O-R-I-T-Y, majority. 这个字是名词，指大多数、多数。我们可以说 The majority of stores on the street close by 9 p.m. 这条街上大多数的店家在晚上9点结束营业。最后我们看到片语 make use of 用来表示使用、利用，像是Instead of playing video games all day long, you should make better use of your time. 你应该更加善用时间，而不是整天打电动。另外，补充相关片语 put something to use 代表使有效利用，发挥可以说 My job as a translator allows me to put my language skills to use. 我担任译者的工作，让我能利用我的语言能力。
Okay, read expiration dates properly. Know what they actually mean. Know that a best by date or a best before date or a use by date doesn't tell you that you need to throw that stuff away. These things are not going to say, okay, this is the date after which you cannot consume that thing, okay? Remember that moving forward. Yeah, this article has been filled with great tips for how you can handle expiration dates. But why? Why do we care about these things? Well, here's a really good reason. Food waste is now completely out of control. Yeah, remember that over 1 billion tons of food is wasted every year, with a major reason being confusion over food date labels. Yeah, people very often throw away perfectly good food because of one of these silly dates that might not really mean what it says. Yeah, these dates are confusing. People get confused. They don't know what to think of these particular dates, and very often this leads to food waste. Yes, this is a major reason, okay? Here we have the word major. Here, if something is major, it's big. It's very important, okay? It's not minor. Yeah, the opposite of major is minor. But yes, if you have a major problem, let's say, it's a problem that you should probably pay attention to. It might even be an emergency.
Yes, for example, I could say, even though Taipei has a great bus and MRT system, the major mode of transportation is still the scooter. It seems like most people get around on scooters rather than taking the bus or trains. But here, a major reason that people are confused is because of those date labels, and that's why so much food is wasted every year. So, by better understanding the meaning of those labels and making use of your senses, you could help reduce the waste. So, yes, indeed, you want to better understand the meaning of those labels. That's the first thing you can do. And also, you can make use of your senses. So, here we have the phrase to make use of something. That's just a fancy way of saying use something. Use your senses. Put them to good use.
All right, folks, with that, our lesson on expiration dates is now in the books, and it's time for you to hear from the Chinese teacher.
各位同学大家好，我是 Hanny。 我们来看今天的文法重点。课文一开始提到，如果食品的日期标签不能告诉我们产品什么时候会坏掉，那我们要怎么知道它能不能够安全食用呢？好，课文里面用到 go bad 来表达食物开始腐败坏掉。那这边我们来学习 go 加形容词的用法。 go 当连缀动词，它带有变得变成的语义，那么后面接形容词来当主词补语，去描述主词的变化。像我们说 go stale 就表示变得不新鲜， go sour 表示变酸变质， go bankrupt 表示破产， go wrong 表示事情出错等等。另外 go 加上形容词也可以用来描述某人或某事物的状态情况，像 go hungry 就表示饿肚子。好，那这个用法也常常用来描述不好的情况哦，像 go undetected 表示未被检测出来， go unnoticed 表示未被注意到，遭到忽略了等等。好，那么课文第二部分有提到说 The shelf life of dry foods like cereal and pasta usually extends months beyond their printed date. 早餐麦片和意大利面这类干货的保存期限通常比印制的日期多好几个月。好，那么 shelf life 就是指产品上架销售的时间，也就是销售期限、有效期限。同学们可以把它想象成是东西放在销售架上的寿命 shelf life。那这个用语通常是用在食品业，用来指食品的保存期限。shelf life 一般会用单数表示哦，我们可以用 something has a long shelf life 来表达某事物的保存期限很长，或是换成 something has a short shelf life 来表达某个东西的保存期限很短。好，另外文中有一个动词 extend， 我们来学它的字首字根 T-E-N-D 或是 T-E-N-S 或是 T-E-N-T 这几个字根它有展开、伸展或是拉紧的意思，像 tension。好 tension 就是由 T-E-N-S 表示拉紧，然后后面加上名词字尾 I-O-N， 所以 tension 就有那种紧张紧绷的意思。好，那在 extend 这个字当中，它的字首 EX 表示向外，字根 TEND 表示伸出伸展。好，向外伸展出去，应该就可以联想到 extend 这个字有延长、延续或是扩大的意思了。顺便补充两个有相同字根的单字哦。第一个是 content C-O-N-T-E-N-D， 字首 C-O-N 它表示一起，是做强调用。那么 T-E-N-D 表示伸展。同学们可以试着联想，在一个很狭小的空间，然后大家要一起伸展，是不是就得争夺空间了？好，那你可以从这种方式来想说 content 它有竞争争夺的语义。好，第二个字大家应该都会，叫做 pretend。 pretend 它的字首 P-R-E 表示在什么什么之前，那么 T-E-N-D 表示展开。根据字面上的意思是，原本是指说在前方延展开来，但它其实带有在大家面前发表意见、宣称的语义。好，那在公众面前发表意见，就是希望能够说服别人嘛。那后来它就延伸出那种假装自称的意思了。好，以上是这些重点整理，我们回顾单字吧。
Pasta. There are several different types of pasta to choose from at this grocery store. Extend. The game was extended for several minutes because the two teams were tied. Purchase. To return the item, you will need proof of purchase, such as a receipt. Raw. The raw food diet requires that about 75% of the food you eat be uncooked and unprocessed. Properly. You must be sure to do this exercise properly if you want to avoid getting injured. Major. Ranked only behind New York and London, Hong Kong is a major international financial center.
Discussion Starter starts now!
All right, everyone, now it's time for our discussion starter. Hey, Roger.
Yeah?
How do you feel about following the advice in the article?
Well, I'm willing to try all the advice in the article because I didn't really know too much about food labeling before. I had no idea so much food was wasted. So I'd like to make my contribution to humanity by checking those labels and then using my senses to make sure the food is okay. How about you?
Well, I would prefer not to follow these tips. Not because they're bad tips, they're great tips. Because I am trying to remove these types of dates from my life entirely. Yes, all the food that I am going to consume on a given day, I buy it that day at a market here in Taiwan. And yes, if I don't consume all that food, that means I've bought too much. That means I've contributed to food waste, so I'm trying not to do that as well. Okay, everyone. With that, today's article is now complete. But, as always, we sure hope that you guys have enjoyed reading along with us. Anyways, I'm Jeff.
I am Roger.
See you next time.